Okay, so good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining. My name is Derek Wood. I'm the product manager here at Infrascale, previously known as SOS Online Backup. So for today's session, we're going to be going through the essentials for being a partner in our program. So we're going to cover how you get more information from us. So if you have questions, you need to get support, what are the steps for that? We're going to go through our dashboard. So our dashboard is the hub of your backup business. It's where you go to create customers, manage customers, edit their plans, do your daily monitoring, email reporting. You can set up backup accounts or backup sets from there. We're then going to go into the software. So what are the best practices in setting up the software client? If there are any areas where you'd like to see particularly more time, feel free to enter those in the chat, and I'll take those as they come in, and then we'll get going. So to start, SOSOnlinebackup.com is always a great place to start. SOSOnlinebackup.com, we go to support, and we have options for support where you can call in. The hours right now are 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Monday through Friday. We are expanding that, so those of you who've been on with us for a while, last summer we migrated our support to Los Angeles. So we've been ramping up our Los Angeles staff, and we will be expanding those hours soon, so stay tuned for that announcement. We'll put it in the announcement section of the dashboard, which we'll show you in a minute. And you could also just do a live chat, which is great for quick question and answer. And that's probably a good way to go about it. The first thing I would always do is just come search the knowledge base if it's just a simple question. So the knowledge base is a great section to come in because it has a ton of articles about how to get things done. So if you have an issue or a question about, bare metal backup, you search for bare metal. And one thing that comes up, of course, is our user guide. The user guide is quite extensive, so we don't have any strict documents. We just use the knowledge base articles as living documents. So if you get through this knowledge base article, this actually links to many different knowledge base articles as you go through the guide. So it goes through everything that we're going to go through today. So the server save application, installing bare metal image creator, setting it up, doing online backup and recovery manager, etc. So this guide is really probably one of the more important articles you could have. It should have been emailed to you during your sign-up days. So it's one of the 3 articles that we send out as a please read this before you get started. Let's go back. So anything like that. We also will talk about a staging machine at one point. So if you're like, do I need a staging machine? What does that mean? So we open this up. Do I need a staging machine? And it discusses a basic scenario and how you would install the different applications in your environment. So the knowledge base is always a great place to come. It's a policy for our support staff to check the knowledge base when you come in with questions. So if you have a question from us, then they'll search the knowledge base for it. And if an answer comes up, they'll often reply back with an answer of, yes, we do that. For more details, see this knowledge base article. It's better for you that way as well as better for us. You don't want to get misinformation from a rep. So if it's documented, then you can pretty much count on it. Also, it just helps you be more self-sufficient. It's faster to do a quick search than to try to get through the queue. If the knowledge base doesn't help you, then I always recommend submitting a ticket. So submitting a ticket is very simple. What this does is it documents your request for support. If you call in or if you chat in, the rep's going to have to create the ticket. So they're going to have to first ask you what's going on and then translate it here. Personally, I found that it's just better use of time to submit a ticket yourself and then use the direct contact functions of phone or chat to follow up on this ticket. So I do that with my personal TV services. I do that with my personal internet services, my phone. Anytime I go to support for something, I do this as well just because I find that for us it works the best and it works the best for other companies as well. You don't want to get translation issues as far as you're giving a description of a situation and the rep is typing it in and maybe it doesn't exactly match up. And maybe that causes only a day delay, but that's still a day delay that you have to deal with so that you can avoid it. Assuming I think it's also great because you can attach files and you can even record a screencast. So just as you are troubleshooting with any of your customers, it's always helpful to be able to get as much information as you can. So log files, and we'll show you where those are. Screen captures are great. Screenshots are great. And that's how our team is going to be most effective at helping you solve the problem or get your customer up and running, whatever the case may be. Any questions on how to get a hold of support? Okay, let's go to our dashboard. So it's dashboard.sosonlinebackup.com. When we log in, so here's our dashboard. We do have some new stuff coming out this next week, which is exciting. And so next week's webinar on Wednesday will cover that more specifically. But basically, we're adding in another user level called a company admin. The company admin will have similar access to what you're seeing here, but only for his particular or her particular accounts. So right now you can actually see view companies. This will come up as an empty table for all of you since none of you have created a company. But it gives you information as far as the company name, the admin's name, and the admin's contact, size of the company account, so the company quota, and how many accounts they've created and how many licenses they have and how many they've used. So this gives you some basic information about the companies you've set up. So then we're in the dashboard. At the very top, we have news and updates. So as the mouse over says, this is where new features or special deals will be announced. Subscribe to these announcements via email or RSS feed. So we have this option here, RSS, email update. It's really important that you all have somebody that does that and pays attention to it, because we do put important things up here. For example, 2 weeks ago, we published a beta of our native exchange application, and didn't seem like a whole lot of people got to it, but we did have some. We also posted it in our forums. So if we go to view all, we can see that we do post this pretty regular. So we have an update on the training schedule, native exchange beta testing, so it's actually January 4th. Start off the new year hot. And we post, at least one to two or three, sometimes 3 times a month like we have in January. But often it's, we keep it pretty mellow. So you can subscribe to this and not worry about getting spammed. We use this only for important updates. So starting from left to right, so account usage. This is your basic summary of accounts that need to be upgraded. So it's going to take your top 5 accounts as far as the percentage used space that they are to their quota. So that gives you a really quick alert to, okay, who is possibly in need of an upgrade? And it tells you that here. If you hit view all, then it puts you into a view of all your accounts sorted by use space. You can also sort by size. You can search by account name or by email address. So you have the email address here, you have the account name here. And so that makes it really simple to find accounts you're looking for. If you have actions, then we can manage the backup policy on this account. So backup policy is a backup set and schedule. We'll show you how to create a backup policy. So you'd set that up per machine. So I hit this. I have my policy list right here. And then I would enter the machine name here. And you hit apply, and that'll be good. You can also change the account size. So what we'll also be releasing is the ability to upgrade or downgrade an account. So some of you have been on for a while but waiting for downgrade. The rule for downgrade will be that you cannot downgrade an account to less than its use space, rounded to the nearest 10 gigabytes. So this being 100 gigs, 43% used, you wouldn't be able to put to a 40 gig account, but you could put it to 50 gigs. Other option here is to change the account email address that's associated with the account, or to cancel the account. Now, if you just want to stop a policy, I have a great question here. What if I want to just suspend an account for payment or non-payment, that is? Well, you don't have to cancel the account, and you don't have an uncancel function. So if you do cancel an account, it's just consider it dead. It'll basically be queued up to be purged from the system after, I believe, 60 days. So you would want to instead go to remote backup policies, and we can create a policy name called in collections. We can go to edit to see what this is. This is how the setup looks. So really you just come and you just set do not scan. It doesn't matter what other settings you put in here, just put do not scan and save. And that means the next time the backup runs, it's not going to have a backup set. So what you're doing, it's a really light way of stopping a backup account from working. So you're not taking away access to backups that they have paid for. You're just preventing newer backups from running. So it's a nice first step at getting a hold of your customer and saying, look, you need to pay up, or for whatever reason you want to suspend the account. Good question. Does that satisfy what you're looking for, Dave? Got a lot of David still in here today. Okay. Okay, so moving right along to activity alert. So activity alert, this is your monitoring. So what we consider monitoring is, what do I have to look at on a daily basis to know what I should be working on a daily basis? So I come in today and I look and I see 0 in the red. That's great. You'd love to see that. 1 in the yellow. Okay, so we have something to look at. And 11 in green. If I happen to be going to any of these clients, I know that I have a thumbs up to give them on status of their backup. But let's check out the 1 in yellow. So I can choose one of these, and it'll filter to just the yellow, or I can filter to just the red, or just the green. So red is error. That means there is something wrong. You need to work it out. Red often indicates, let's just go to view all. So there's different statuses depending on what's happening. There's a active backup green, and then there's a in-between backup green. There's an active backup yellow and an in-between backup yellow, active backup red, in-between backup red. So the active green, meaning the backup is running, means the backup is currently checking in on time and all is going well. The check-in time is every 30 minutes. So every 30 minutes, the backup is going to check back with this monitoring server and send an update. And the update is going to come through right here as far as the details of what's been protected and what files weren't protected, if any. If more than an hour goes by, so 2 check-ins are missed, then it becomes a warning, yellow. We haven't heard from this backup in an hour. So then you may want to check it out. This doesn't necessarily mean the backup's not running. The connection to this server is different than the backup. It could be as simple as the connection cannot be made to the web service. And if you look at the logs, you'll actually see that in pretty plain English. And it becomes red if 2 hours goes by and there's been no update. So now it's we don't know what's going on with that backup. It started, and this is the status that last we knew, but we haven't heard from it in at least 2 hours. The in-between status, so the backup's not currently running, but it's on a schedule, is the last backup ran on time and it was great, and the next backup's going to run at some time later. So the backup was completed successfully at 11:30 p.m. It is a scheduled backup, and likely it's going to run at 11:30 p.m. today. Yellow means it's been a couple days, so no backup during the last 3 days, and last backup was completed successfully on the 12th. So we do a lot of trial deployments through this dashboard. So the trial deployment looks like it's just been uninstalled, so it's just not there anymore. So I can remove this individual record if I just don't want to see it anymore. Or say I cancel the account, then I can just remove all records from the account. So this is monitoring. So you're going to see one status per deployment, a deployment being a backup account name and a machine name. And it also gives you information as far as the backup type. So we have image stream, which is a particular backup used for taking bare metal image backups off-site. Then we have file and folder backups, so the standard online backup for taking files and folders off-site. Live protect, which is set at a per file level, and you'd say every time, every 15 minutes I want this thing to be scanned, and if the file's changed, back it up. We're adding by February 5th is our goal for a publish date, is Exchange backup, and that's also part of the beta, so that would show up too. So if you're using the beta, you'd see Exchange backup here as well. Any questions on what we've gone through so far? One of the important things up here is your daily digest. So you have your support staff or your techs or your sales reps or your sales techs, whatever organizational structure you have. You can put their email address up here or just put the distribution list. And this will send a daily digest of what's happened with all of your deployments. So it'll start with the errors first, and then warnings, and then all green. And that's why you don't really need to see the green, you need to see the warnings and the errors. So this will send you every day at, I believe, 6 a.m. Central Time, a report of what's happened last or what's going to happen. You can also filter this by particular indicator, so error, warning are okay, by a particular status, so it was a canceled backup, completed backup, failed, or it's currently uploading. You can filter by account name, or by system name, or by backup type. So here we have Exchange, files and folders, image stream, and live protect. Monitoring settings. Monitoring settings is just a checkbox by default. This should be enabled to monitor all new accounts. So if you wanted to say we don't want to monitor this account anymore, so I just uncheck that and save. And that's it. And then any new account added will be monitored. You can also export that to Excel. By file count, how many backups or how many files have you backed up over the last couple months, by size, and then just your generally used space. So let's just go upload by file size. So this gives us a history. And if we don't want to go through there, remember that these tool buttons down here are going to link us to the same graphs we just went through, except more directly. So view accounts is the account usage, real-time monitoring is activity, backup history is this. So we can go to backup history. And now we have a full history of what's happened. So this automatically is going to default to the last 30 days. And you can filter this by account. So let's say Lasso Demo. It's not even an account name. OLB Partner Demo. So let's just apply this. When we get all this information, we export this to an Excel file. And now you have all the information that you would need. So system name, so a really nice report is just to select all this. Oh, great. And then we're going to insert a pivot table or pivot chart. People love graphs. And then we'll just take, system name, and then let's do, by total data, total files backed up from these machines. Or you can do by, whatever else you want. So this just gives you a summary of, what's been backed up over time from each machine on this particular backup account. So then you can start getting together some nice graphs and things of that nature. Any questions on the dashboard? All right, moving right along then. So remote backup policies, well, we went over that briefly, but again, pretty simple. It looks just like the software client does. Same options, except you are naming a policy, so that's really the only difference. You select the scanner mode, file types, scheduler settings. You need to do Windows credentials, Windows domain credentials, and then you can schedule, hourly, daily, whatever you like, and then put in an email backup report destination here. This is different than the daily digest. This will only be sent when a backup has run through to completion. If someone's canceled it, then it'll run through as long as the cancellation was allowed to proceed and end naturally. If you end a task in the middle of it canceling, it won't send anything to this email address. So the only email alert that you get that says the backup has not run is through the monitoring system. I have a question about how do I set up monitoring reports just for a particular company. Say you want to add a company admin. Well, that's exactly what we'll have to wait until next Wednesday to show you. So next Wednesday we'll be releasing the company profile. So a company admin would then have their own dashboard like this. So you wouldn't even need to set it up for them. You could show them how to set it up. I would expect that would probably happen, but you wouldn't need to. Okay, great. Licenses. So to assign backup licenses. So we do use licenses for bare metal image creation and exchange granular recovery. Each license comes with both bare metal image backup and exchange granular recovery. Why do they come together? Because we wanted to make it simple. There are just so many systems out there that say, oh, you can do bare metal backup, exchange backup, et cetera, et cetera. Great. And then you go and buy it, and it's like, oh, it's $1,000 for the bare metal backup. You say, okay, cool. They say, okay, well, next, you want a granular exchange recovery? Oh, well, that's another $400 or $500 license. And you say, okay, great. And then you buy that, and they're like, oh, wait, you also need to enable your software to run so that it supports the exchange granular recovery. And it's just really bulky, and we wanted to make it simple. You don't have to enable a setting so that the EGR aspect will work. It just works by default. You don't need to buy a separate license so it works by default. The only thing we do is the license.ini file for exchange granular recovery. It comes with a default 25 mailbox limit, and you can upgrade for free to 50 mailboxes per license. If you need to upgrade beyond that, then there's some type of pricing structure. Just give your partner specialist a call, and they'll be able to set you up. But really, you can just submit a ticket to support, then call up your partner specialist, tell them you put in a ticket, and they'll get that taken care of for you. And unfortunately, that is the upgrading of a license is a manual process, and it takes a couple days depending on the queue that they currently have. Any questions on licensing? All right, so we're going to jump into the software now. Anyone have a question about anything we've covered so far, or looking forward to what we've seen? I see a couple guys that have been partners for a while. Hey, Whale. Hey, Reese. see you. I think that's one of the few David, I think you've been on for a while. How long has everyone been a partner of SOS? Just by number of months? I see some new names. Oh yeah, Reese, I know you've been on for a while. Newbie. So these trainings are also good to come to regularly, as a couple of the guys on can say. So Reese has been on for, almost a year and a half. So you have to, wait for that information to come through. And also, here's a perfect example of what we look for in the dashboard. So Whale says, when deleting data from the server, it does not reflect on the dashboard. It may not reflect, it may be cached. So if you're running Chrome, hold Shift and hit F5 and try that. If you wait if anything, it should take no more than like 15 minutes, 30 minutes. And are you saying per account, so you get to view account status, you delete information from your backup account, and then this percentage does not go down? Is that what you're saying? Okay. Just submit a ticket to support, because that's obviously a bug if that's not working out. So just submit a ticket to them, tell them what's going on, give them the account name that you tried it out on, and they'll get a hold of it. Does it reflect if you sign into the My Account system for that backup account? No, so no for both. Okay. Yeah, just submit a ticket to support and just show them what you've done. It should reflect in the software client and by number. Okay, you did already. Okay, so they submitted it as a bug. You can also put it in the bug section in the partner beta community. I didn't show you guys that. I'm sorry. Let me log in real quickly. So those for you newbies out there. Thanks, Reese, by the way. So the partner, we have a group called the Partner Advisory Committee, or not community, and some of the requests were pretty big. So last month was the first month since we started it that we didn't release anything towards it, which is sad. But we got some good stuff coming out soon. So company admin support, Exchange granular recovery support, or Exchange support native to the backup application. Okay. So here, our partner advisory community, this is a great area for you to come in and also solidify issues with other people. Because usually, we have to repeat issues before we start it with a bug, so it's really nice. And a lot of you have some of you have been participating here, but for example, pre-release builds, you come in here, you see I put on January 4th, native Exchange backup beta requests, so just like what we're looking for, the build, download, how to enable it, and then we're just looking for some basic feedback. Also, the roadmap, so I just updated this yesterday with new ETAs for what we're coming out with. And a lot of this is based on what the community requests. So the community has backup feature requests and ideas. So you can come in here, and the community will vote on certain items, and then we'll mark it as planned if it gets enough support. So some of these items are marked as done. But again, we had some big items with Exchange and company support to tackle, so we put on kind of a pause. But it's great stuff. If we have any issues or bugs, this is a great place to start a discussion about it. So if you are finding that you're not getting through the support and you're not getting the response back, you can always hit this up, put the ticket number, And not only do our support reps look at this, but our CEO, our engineers, myself, we all get notified when you post stuff in here. So if you really want to escalate something, you can put something in here. Although this is not for slandering, this is for getting help and starting, constructive discussions, which you guys are all good at. Okay, so let's get into the basic setup of what we're looking at. So do I need a staging machine? First, SOS Online Backup provides a solution that includes 3 different applications. Okay, we have the bare metal image creator application. We have Online Backup and Recovery Manager, which is going to be what takes files off-site and recovers them from the online backup portion. So the image creator application is going to create bare metal images on a schedule, and then you point it to a local network drive or a local drive. And then from there, you take them off-site with Online Backup and Recovery Manager, so recover them with that. You would also install Online Backup Recovery Manager on specific laptops or workstations. There are also mobile applications. So mobile applications you can install directly on iOS devices or Android devices and back up and recover data to and from those mobile devices. And then what's not listed here, because this is a backup flow, is for Exchange Granular Recovery. That would be something that you install. And once you've recovered your Exchange information to some local point, you use EGR to recover specific Exchange objects. David's got a great suggestion just in regard to the end time feature. This only seems to be a fixed time each day. Are there any plans to have this more customizable so that a different schedule can be set for weekdays, for weekends and weekdays? No, actually right now there is no plans for it, but certainly use the partner advisory community discussions to go into that. So if we have, I believe if you search in end time, should come up here. So you can put in a request. I would probably just start a new thread since this one's already marked as done. But yeah, I would just start a new suggestion and get the community to start on it. If you don't see this form, just ask support to add you to it. So not everyone sees this. We actually, when you become a partner, you submit a ticket to us, and support will, in your profile for Zendesk, which is what this is, we'll actually add you to the organization that can see this form. So if you don't currently see it, that's why, or you need to log in. So if you log in and then you don't see it, then just ask support to add you to the partner advisory community or the pack, whatever you want to call it. Sure, okay. So do I need a staging machine? So this is the flow that we go for. So we're looking to take bare metal images from from a server, and you put it to some staging machine. We put some example staging machines that you can have. At the very least, we recommended even just a laptop. The reason is just because it's better performance for backup, as well as a better recovery solution for you as well. So you have a recovery point locally as well as that. You can do it to a NAS, but you don't get the benefits in the backup. You probably end up backing up more data than you typically would need to, and also you would not have a very good recovery point. Let's just jump into it. So we're already about 20 till. So I got this open. So let me change the screen. All right, everyone seeing this okay? I just changed to a VM that's running Windows 2008 Server R2. Looks good. Okay, so this is the server save application. So the server save, it's really not something you install. It's a wrapper application. And what this does is it's going to give you access to all 3 of the applications that are involved that we just discussed. Let me close this out. Okay, so here's the server save login. So you take your backup account username and you log in. And then it's going to pull up the three applications: online backup and recovery. So this is the online backup app, bare metal image creator, and license details. So it's going to pull this from the dashboard where you assigned to the license. And exchange granular recovery and license details. So it says installed, installed, installed. If there's an update available for any of these, it'll tell you there's an update available, and then you select it, and it'll download and install the update. So we already have all these installed. So let's just get into it. So bare metal image creator. We open this up. This is Shadow Protect, which is by StorageCraft. They have a great program for bare metal image backup, so we partnered with them for this. So you create a backup first, and you select add a partition level. There's my scheduled backup. Let me just cancel that. So you select at a partition level. It becomes important when you're taking bare metal images off-site to become more particular and more organized with how you run your bare metal image backups. You can have some scenarios wherein you have just, your C drive, which is great because that's just your base partition, and you'd almost take an image of this, convert it to a VHD or VMDK, and then just have it available so that you can, quickly, virtual boot the core system. And you don't have to worry about all the additional information from running Exchange, an SQL server, any other application server that you're running on it, using it as a file server. Also, it becomes more important to have more drive letters for particular types of data. So if you want to do just a recovery of Exchange, it's going to be a lot faster for you if you don't also have all your file data on this partition, as this backup runs on a partition level. So now I select the partition that just is my Exchange partition, and I select the network location, which is what's recommended. So you set this up here. For demo purposes, I'm just going to select this mapped network drive, virtual drive F. So just select this location. This is where I'm going to run the backup. Now I get my scheduling options. So far so good, pretty standard stuff. So this automatically puts us into the weekly recommendation, which is pretty standard in the industry for bare metal backup. But when you start taking it off-site after we run it, then we really like this option called continuous incrementals. This means that you're not going to run another full backup after you run the first. You don't really need to. One of the benefits of running full backups again is to manage your local storage space. With the continuous incrementals, we instead run a full backup once and then just incrementals from then on. And we use this program called Image Manager, which is also in the guide, to consolidate those incrementals. So if we have 30, 60 incrementals, and you want to consolidate those into one, then you can do that. The other benefit of using Image Manager to consolidate your incrementals is that it does validate the information in your incrementals. So if you're doing an Image Manager consolidation on a weekly basis, so from 7 to 1, or depending on how many backups you're running. Right now we're running 11 a day. We'll probably put this up. And this all depends on your system resources, really how fast your drive is. So now we have only 6 per day. At the end of the week, we don't want that many. And use Image Manager to consolidate. Now, it's not that big of a deal because the consolidation, it doesn't remove any steps for you in recovery because you don't have any additional recovery steps, whether you have 1 incremental or 1,000. It's going to intelligently attach the chain. The benefit is really the validation. The system does use VSS, so you have to be aware that if you have another VSS program and installed, you're going to have to uninstall it. So StorageCraft actually recommends uninstalling other VSS systems, not just disabling. So backup exec is installed, but you want to try this out, it's not going to work out too well. VSS is monogamous, and it really doesn't like being touched by more than one program, and you can run into issues. So if you want to try it, you can go for it. Disable the other VSS program, install this one, and try running it. If you run into any issues, though, and you contact support, the first thing they're going to ask is, okay, do you have any other VSS programs installed? And they're going to ask you to uninstall that, uninstall what you just did, restart, reinstall, restart, and then go again. So when you do go to install Shadow Protect for the first time, make sure it's a time where you could reboot the machine. You're going to have to. So next, compression method. So standard or high. Standard, roughly 50% is a good estimate to kind of take into account. If you get a high compression, it's going to take a little more time to run the backup, but you'll get somewhere between 10 and 15% more encryption, or an additional 10 to 15%, I would say. And then you have your passwords. So you can encrypt the backup locally. For those of you dealing with healthcare records, you do have to have your local backups encrypted. To set the level of encryption, you go here to RC4 128-bit, AES 128-bit, AES 256. So AES 128 is required by HIPAA standards. You have different commands. So if you have some older programs, usually some like MAS 90 system, and it doesn't have a VSS writer, and VSS isn't going to help you back it up, then you can do a pre-snapshot and post-snapshot command for it. So a lot of you may have the need to use this if you get into some more advanced usage with SQL. So, and there's a lot of articles in the StorageCraft support site about SQL backup, whether you're setting up to do a full backup or full recovery or a simple recovery. And depending on that, you may need to use this. But really, this is kind of a kickback to the 1990s in your BAT files. Big recommendation here is split your image files. You don't want to have to process a huge file if you're taking it off-site. One of the big lags that you see when you're running a backup is really your drive speed. You can have all the RAM in the world, but if you have a bottom of the barrel hard drive and you can only write 30 megs a second, it's going to take a long time to get these big files written, and then on top of that you have to put them through the encryption and compression. So a lot of the backup time off-site is based on just your system, the system that you have. So we always recommend, for better backup and for recovery performance, to split up your images or any large files into 5 gig chunks. And this is about 5 gigs. It's easy just to add 1 0, and you're about there. Okay, next you get your summary. Great, grand, wonderful. So spend 2 minutes and we just schedule the backup to run. Additional options, if you go to agent options, you can an email from address. So if you want to use, you want to get a backup report for this particular backup, you can put in your email address here, put in the from address, send the test email and make sure it's good to go. Send an email on failure, on success. Maybe you want that off. So, and then you put the destination email address there. If you go to backup history, it gives you a pretty solid history of what's going on, pretty plain English. So this is pretty clear. For some reason, they couldn't access backup job 11 incremental 185 on January 10th. Looks like since then it's been running fine. So it just gives you a real clear indication of what's going on. So, whereas it even says when the snapshot's taken. The snapshot was created. So if you had a BAT file that say run BAT, running command pre-snapshot, taking snapshot, running command post-snapshot, snapshot taken. So it gives you pretty clear information as far as what's happening here. So let's close that out. And let's take that off site. Any questions on what we've gone through so far? Feel free to enter them in the chat. Okay, so this is currently what the application looks like. You're going to get a different UI soon. And well, on the use space change, does that reflect here? Just take a look at all the different parts of the system. So the actual software, my account, dashboard, you already said no, and let them know what's going on. Okay, so for right now we have 3 tabs. What's going to be released on the 5th is just going to be a single backup tab. You would select this, and then you get a drop down for the type of backup you want to run. So the standard backup, file and folder backup, the process looks pretty much the same, but the difference in the image stream is that image stream, we're talking about bare metal images. So we turn certain things off, like retention policy. So if you want an image manager to run to consolidate your incrementals, it's going to turn 70 incrementals into one monthly incremental file or one weekly, depending on your schedule. And then it's going to remove the incrementals that consolidated after 24 to 48 hours, depending on what you set. If you're running that backup on that folder through this backup system, then you're going to have a lot of duplicative data. Image stream has a retention policy of 0, meaning if it's deleted from the local machine, then we'll delete it from the backup server as well. So that's the main difference. So you don't need versioning with bare metal backup images. You're backing up new incremental files. So in our system, versioning means it's the same file name, it's in the same location, it's just been modified. And then it would go through the Delta level backup procedure. With incremental files, it's a new incremental file with a new incremental file name. So incremental 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, a million. So it's a completely new file. Here we have backup data of the wizard. Backup automatic is that user intervention. Backup when this user is not logged on. So this is important for running backups after hours and on the Windows domain, especially if you're backing up from network location. Backup from network location, almost guaranteed to get a really scary email to somebody that says, 1,000 files cannot be backed up because access was denied. It's scary only because it's big and red and the big number, but really just means it wasn't authenticated. So that's how you authenticate. Frequency. For workstation backup, you can do it every 1 hour. That's great coverage for your individual users. For your server, it may be a little more data, especially if you're doing bare metal image backups off-site like we're doing now. Maybe users can do it nightly or daily. So start time at 9:30 p.m. and I want it to stop at 7:30 a.m. just when people come in the office. So the email reports at the end of the backup. So again, this is just for this particular backup that's running, and it's not going to send you failed reports. It's only going to send you confirmation that a backup finished due to completion. So actually, one of the final steps that we'll see in the log is send the email report. So the email actually is initiated from the client, not from the server, for this backup report. Hit finish. My backup's going to run. It's running image stream. Now we're good to go. So we've done that. Now let's look at restore. So we go to restore, and we have online restore. It's going to refresh what's happened recently and give you a bold date next to each day that you have a successful backup. So we can go back in time as long as we've had the account. And I'll say let's go back to December of 2011. Sure, it's over a year ago, December 2nd. We'll refresh the backup set to what it looked like on that day. And here we go, now a whole lot of data on here. backup job 1, incremental 10. That's it. So that's all this looks like. Let's go back. Let's say, I just want to see what happens, what we have in total. So I go to today's backup date. And now we see all these other machines that we've backed up under this account. So right now I'm on Lasso demo. We'll put up the F drive. And this is what I've been running backups on. Or backups to. I can see a backup job 5, incremental 1 through a million. Now you have to individually check all these, which can be a bit cumbersome, which is why I actually prefer, personally, to go to the classic view for recovery. For the classic view, I can make this full screen. I like seeing more information. It doesn't automatically refresh, so I'll make it refresh automatically. I'll make it refresh. Then I go through and I get to my F drive, and now I can see all this information. It's not a checkbox. It's simply saying, okay, backup job 4, great, and I want all of backup job 4. So I just shift select down there, right click, recover. I select the default location to go to. I always recommend, if you're not selecting, if you're only selecting files within a particular folder, do not include original path. It's a waste of characters and you may run into issue. The Windows 255 character one. If you do have some folder structure involved there, then you would want to include original path, but you may need to change your destination to be like on the root of a drive. So say new location, I just need it to be on C. And we hit OK. I wouldn't do that just for files though. That would be silly. If I was to include the original file path, less silly. And so in C, I'll see a folder name called Lasso Demo, and then I'll show that with C, F, and see all these files. So hit OK, and then it'll go through and run recovery. So that's recovery of the image files or any files. So let's say we got the bare metal image files back, or they're on our local drive, or they're on our backup destination, so we don't even need to download them. I come here to backup job 5, incremental, let's pick 50. Okay, I don't have any software open. I'm just gonna, in Windows Explorer, right click, hit quick mount, and it's gonna virtually mount this drive. Exchange drive I, it's gonna throw me into it. So I just did a quick virtual mount, very quick and easy to do. I drill down, exchange, mailbox, mailbox. And then in here will be my EDB. There she is. And we're good to go. So now that we did a virtual mount, so we had access to all the data that was on that drive. Happens to be an exchange partition. So now I want to get some granular exchange options here. So I open up BGI. This license is a little different. This license is not a key. It's a file that you download. So you're going to download this key, and then when you're in here, you can go to Preferences, and then the license file name here, and then you browse to it. So we're already authenticated. We got the license in here, so let's go ahead and find our EDB file. So I go to my computer, go to Exchange Drive I, mailbox, mailbox. There's my EDB file. Hit OK. Automatically finds the logs. If you wanted to browse two different logs, you could for whatever reason. I hit OK, and now it's going to load up the information I have up here in the source. So I have access to all the objects within this Exchange profile. So I'm the user. I have access to calendar items, objects rather, contacts, drafts, inbox, journals, junk email, notes, outbox, sent items, suggested contacts, and tasks, the whole bit. Let's say user 1 comes up to me and says, oh, I need, I lost an email. I need to I need to get it. I don't know when it was sent. It was a few months ago. It was something about management. So, okay, let's search for attachment file names, or to search just this mailbox. And I hit Find Now. And it pulls up one message. And we say, okay, is this the one that was sent on the 19th from user 1, and it was sent to user 2 and user 3? Is that right? He says, I don't know. It could be. So I say, well, let's double check. So I just double click. Here's the body of the email. There's the attachment. And he says, okay, that's the one. That's definitely the one. So I say, great. So now you got to open up your live Exchange server. So we open up the destination, so your target. So connect to all the mailboxes. Now this is going to authenticate, and then based on the license key. So can you use this system? Yes. Then it's going to authorize based on the Windows admin credentials. So it looks like I succeeded with the license, but I failed from Windows. So unfortunately, I don't have access to show you any of this. So what we would do if you wanted to recover from there is you just do a simple drag and drop over into this user's mailbox. If you wanted to drag and drop a whole mailbox in here to just do a full recovery, you could do that too. Or if you want to take the whole source EDB file and just say, look, I just need this all back, you can drag and drop that as well. And it would, and let's say you had users here that didn't exist here, it would merge and create new ones. So it's a really powerful tool. Additionally, you're not even limited to searching through just the backup. So if you're authorized as a full Exchange admin, then I would be able to come here and do a search through the live Exchange server. So let's say somebody came to me and said, oh, I sent out this attachment to the whole staff. I need no one to see that attachment. Then you could do a search for that attachment through here and then just delete that message from the mail server altogether. So it gives you a lot of great functionality. So we've covered now the dashboard, basic setup and recommendation for setup, image creator, online backup and recovery, recovery of a bare metal image, and Exchange granular recovery. Any questions? About 4 minutes. Any final questions before we go today? Was there anything that we didn't cover today that you were hoping to get more detail on? All right, one question, what about granular recovery of SQL? There's no option for that, so you would just, if you had a SQL server on one of those partitions, use bare metal image creator to get it. Same thing, would use VSS, it would package it up real nicely for you, and then you would, you'd be able to recover from the whole SQL server, but there's no object level recovery option here. Will today's webinar be available later? Absolutely. We'll post it up online, and you can take a look at that. I also recommend that you come back either next Wednesday or the following Friday, as we will have added some new features. So the Exchange application, native Exchange, and the backup and recovery application will be available. Also, we're going to be adding company admin support. We're also going to be adding new rebranding functions. So new rebranding features will be available for everyone. So we got some exciting stuff coming out the next few months for you all. And other than that, we'll look forward to seeing you in the partner advisory community forums. Feel free to put in any ideas or suggestions, things you'd like to see. We'll be more than happy to engage in those discussions. So thanks. Have a good one.